tell me a little bit? This man still got the card in.
For real. Pretend like I ain't got nothing written on the card. Just pretend like I'm holding on to it, you know.
All right. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Nathan Brown. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. He's one of the best creatives in all of the SEC. He's done NCAA championships, college football playoffs, SEC championships, March Madness, and everything in between. University of Alabama creative, videographer, and editor, Tuscaloosa's very own, Nick Macon. Still got the card in.
For real. Pretend like I ain't got nothing written on the card. Just pretend like I'm holding on to it, you know.
All right. They had, tell me a little bit about how you first got into the creative business.
Yeah, so I'll say it started really in high school. I was playing football, and then once I figured out football wasn't going to be what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, that's why I had one of my best friends, David Spencer. He came, he grabbed me and kind of took me under his wing. We had always known each other. We went to the same school since elementary school and stuff. So we were always tight. But then he was kind of telling me the stuff that he does, and he was like, "Man, come check out this media program at school." And I was like, I don't want to do no lame media stuff. I don't want to. I mean, it's kind of nerdy and stuff. So, and so he took me under his wing and he kept telling me like, just come try it out, And so he was kind of showing me some of the programs that they use, like Adobe software. And I feel like back then, it was like 2016, 2017. Like it was kind of like Adobe Premiere was a thing, but like a lot of people wasn't really on it.
Yeah.
And so he took me under his wing and he like showed me every single day after school, like this is what we do, this is how you film, this is how you edit. Like it was just like I was at football practice again.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of started falling in love with the stuff that I do today. Because it reminds me of like football, like it's a team thing. You know, you have different things that come together like a team, like with football.
Yeah.
And so then once I was in high school, I started competing for awards. I had a YouTube channel. I was making little hype videos for college teams and stuff like that. That was getting some views and stuff. So, and so then my high school teacher, she started putting us in these like award, like, you know, these competitions and stuff like that. And like we started winning, and that's when I was kind of like, oh man, like if I'm winning awards, like, and I'm just started, like that means this is probably gonna be what I want to do. So that's kind of how I got started in it. And then obviously I came to college, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to stick with sports because that's just what I grew up playing with sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I kind of got into it, and then worked here as a student, and then became full time here.
Shout out to David, man.
That's right.
I didn't know y'all went that far back. Like I thought y'all just met while y'all here.
No, yeah. Me and David been the same school since elementary school. I've known David since first, second grade. So me and David been through thick and thin for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. But as you got to UA, what was that experience like? First getting started when you started to work at Crimson Tide Productions as a student.
Yeah. So when I first started, it was 2017. So like I said, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I really feel like sports editing, it was big, but it wasn't as big as it is now. I feel like now with TikTok and all these other platforms, it's so much easier to get access to people's footage and everything like that. Like for us, we had to go to YouTube. We was like taking stuff from Tide TV, like shout out to Christopher England. Like we were going to Tide TV and like finding his clips, like stuff that they film, and we're making hype videos from that stuff too. Yeah. But kind of getting started here, you know, I think I was in class one day and they came and talked to our class. And I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do because it was either work there or WVUA, and I knew I wanted to do some kind of editing with sports. Yeah. So coming in, we didn't really have a creative team back then, and we really didn't have the equipment we have today. So I really just came in and I did a lot of editing stuff, kind of started off. And then that's when Justin Brandt told me, he was like, hey man, like we said, you're really good at editing. You know, you can shoot, you know, pretty decently. How about you start traveling with these teams and stuff? And at first I was like, nah, I don't want to embarrass myself because I was like, I feel like my shooting skills not up yet. I could edit, but my shooting skills wasn't up. Yeah. And so it was one day he kept every single day he kept telling me, and I was just like, nah, I'll think about it. Mm-hmm. And one day he was like, all right, man, like we actually like we need you to be here, yeah, to come do it. And so I was like, okay, I'll just try it. And he was like, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. Just try it. So I tried it. I went with women's basketball to Auburn. Ever since then, like I love Coach Curry. I love the staff there. So that's how we kind of got connected and stuff like that. I went to Auburn, then did it again, went to Georgia. And I think at that year, it was like their first time beating Georgia in like a long time. And I think they were ranked too. So it was just starting building connections and started just meeting people. And I was like, okay, like I kind of like this, like traveling with the team and stuff. But I would say it was a little challenging because I had school and stuff too. So I had like 16 credit hours with the school, but I also had, I had another job too. So I had a part-time job, I had this job, and I also had 16 credit hours of school. So it was challenging and stuff, but I think that's like one of the great things that made me who I am today.
So, take me into what was your first experience like, the first trip that you took. Just take me through your first time being a traveling creative as a student.
Yeah, so it was very nerve wracking because I was always kind of person where I don't want to mess something up. I'm very aware, very very self aware, very socially aware. So I'm just like just don't make sure nobody falls over no equipment. Make sure you don't lose nothing. Make sure you don't break nothing. Like that was my main thing. And after that, it was really just like find out where the red button on the camera was, press record, make sure everything is focused, and just follow where the ball going. So, like I said, I wasn't really that experienced. In my high school, we didn't really have the high tech equipment and stuff. We just had little small camcorders. You point and shoot. You ain't got to focus.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to focus at doing that stuff. So it was one of those things where you just trial and error, just trying new things. And there's a lot of times where I messed up. There's a lot of footage that I'm like, this is terrible. I can't believe that I shot this. But it's one of those things where you got to grow.
Yeah, so now being a full-timer, working for athletics, what are the totality of the responsibilities that you have working for Alabama as a creative?
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, I'm a producer and editor. So I oversee our creative team. I'm one of the people, me, Nelson, and Colin, oversee our creative team. So now so I do a lot. So me specifically, I have my main sports and stuff. It's women's basketball, volleyball. So I did some gymnastics and then track and field. And then we all help with football and stuff. So I do make some of the football hype videos and stuff that are played inside the stadium. We also do some of the countdown videos and stuff like that. They get run on social for football. Yeah. Women's basketball, all creative stuff. That's what I do. Same thing with volleyball. And then I was doing some gymnastics stuff too. So I travel with them as well. And then track and field. So that, and then just kind of overseeing our students, so making sure that they get the reps that they need to become successful. Just making sure that they, are able to get their reels out and stuff like that. So I'm able to help schedule them and help train them and to become like people like I was.
So you had the unique experience of going to school here and growing up in Tuscaloosa, but then continue to work here after the fact. How has that kind of been nice for you to be able to still be close to home? And then, you're right here at Alabama, and we're going to touch on this a little bit now. You're here at home at Alabama, but you're an Auburn fan.
Yeah.
So what does that look like as both an employee, a fan, student, somebody from Tuscaloosa? Just go a little bit more into that.
Well, it's definitely a challenging dynamic just because, I wouldn't even say challenging now because I'm from here. So I'm born and raised in Tuscaloosa. So this is all I know. Obviously, I was born an Auburn fan. Like, everybody knows that now. Yeah. Like, everybody knows that. I try not to, go above and try to make it worse than what it is because I do love my job. And I do represent Alabama when I'm working here and stuff. Yeah. But being from here has been awesome. Like, you don't have to, I still live with my parents. My parents are fully supporting me and stuff like that. On top of having all these jobs, they're encouraging me and they always have my back. My family means everything to me. Yeah. So, just having that support system with you and stuff, and then being able to save money and just buy whatever you want and whatever you need and stuff like that. But really just having a support system just means everything to me. That's really why I stay close to home and stuff. And then just being from Tuscaloosa, it's just like I know a lot of people here because it's just where I grew up playing, or when I grew up and working and going to school and stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of people, when they talk about Nick, they talk about the video side of things, but other stuff you get into outside, you're a big hunting and fishing guy.
Yeah.
In Tuscaloosa. So tell me where that started and just the other stuff that you do outside of it.
Yeah. So my family is actually from the country. They're from Tuskegee, Montgomery, Auburn. That's where my family is actually from. So they grew up on farms. They grew up harvesting. They grew up doing all kind of stuff, raising food and everything. So for me, that was something that me and my dad did together. That was our bonding thing, was to always go hunting, always go fishing, even since I was able to walk and stuff. So that's just something that's just been second nature to me. I'm a country guy at the end of the day. I like to be here and do all the filming stuff and being with technology, but I'm also, my roots is being country, just being able to go hunting, go fishing. That's just my thing. Anytime that I get any time off, I'm probably in the woods, I'm probably hunting, or I'm probably going fishing or something like that.
I feel like those are two completely different things, because sports, in video editing, all that type of stuff, it's super fast-paced environments. It's always constant deadline stuff like that. But then you go out and you hunt and you fish, those are just calm, relaxing things, things that take a little bit more patience. So just having that, I feel like there's a good balance that everybody kind of needs in life, especially in a field like us, staying grounded with those things that are important to you, like family time and stuff like that as well. Talking a little bit about wildlife, an ongoing topic of discussion on social media has been the 100 men versus one gorilla conversation. have you engaged in this conversation?
I've seen this conversation all over Twitter and stuff. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that 100 people is gonna get a gorilla. And honestly, I don't know what the end goal is. I don't know if they trying to just pin the gorilla down or if they trying to kill it. I don't know what the whole thing behind it.
A lot of people been saying like we overestimate the size of a gorilla. Like they'll be like, we not fighting King Kong, or we not. It's not gonna be like Planet of the Apes. Like gorilla's not naturally that aggressive. But at the same time, I'm like, we not naturally that aggressive either. Like what type of tactics do we really have to inflict pain on a gorilla?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I feel like we're going in with just bare hands. I don't think people understand how strong a gorilla is. And I think it's kind of, I think what people don't understand is it's almost impossible for 100 people to jump on one gorilla. Yeah. So like, I don't really know what the whole, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you like schemed it up perfectly, or maybe if you just had 100 people and they was built like The Rock or something like that, like maybe, but just like, but then that's what I'm saying, they're taking more space. But then it's like, if you just have 100 regular people, then it's like, I don't know. Like, and also, the first person who hit that gorilla, they gone. Like they are gone. The first person who ever touched them, they are gone.
It's gonna be like the hook on that.
Yeah.
First Avengers movie.
Yeah.
But I want to know if the person that's out there, who is the originator of this discussion and like this controversy? Because like I always wonder, like when we get to like these social media trends and like things that originate like this, like I always wonder like who is the first person to put it out.
Just come up with it, yeah.
Dialogue, and we just like stupid enough to get it. But moving forward a little bit, being a part of the staff, working at Alabama, how cool is that experience to be able to be a part of so many different things? Like I think a great part is also being able to work on a multitude of sports, and being able to just meet so many different players and coaches and stuff like that. So like, what has the experience in totality been like for you?
Yeah, so I would say, it's been a blessing. Not everybody can say they've been in this position. I would say, it's really been special because of just the people that I've met through. Really getting to see a lot of the student athletes just grow as people, because we always see them on Sports Center or ESPN of, this player is huge, this player is this, and it's just like, but I know this person as a human, like they're saying, like they've been viewed sometimes as celebrities, but it's really cool to just get to see them as people, because at the end of the day, we're all human and stuff, but it's just like, this person's just really good at sports. So I would say that, just the connections that I've made, the people that I got to meet has just been my favorite part about working here and stuff, just because like, you just never know who you're going to meet or where that will be able to take you and stuff. And I would say because of the connections, because of the people that I've met here, it's allowed me to come back after a student to be full-time.
And so as you were starting to begin as a creative, or even as you first got started as a student, did you see yourself in the shoes that you're in right now at that time?
Honestly, when I say this, I don't want to sound cocky, but I kind of did. Not necessarily me being at Alabama, yeah, but I definitely did. I think I worked hard when I was a student. I worked really, really hard. I was up here nights, weekends. Like I was up 1 or 2 in the morning. And my mom was calling me, asking me if I was ever going to come home. Yeah. But I'll say, I poured into it because I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I've always been the kind of person where if I'm really passionate about something, that's really, really what I want to do. And like I said earlier, like I had a part-time job doing retail and stuff like that too. And that really wasn't my passion, but that was just another way for me to get a source of income. Yeah. But with this job, I knew like this is what I want to do in the future. So I poured all of me into that, and allowed me to, get the knowledge and the experience that I've had gotten today. So I will say that I think I worked hard as a student, and I put a lot of time into this. I didn't think that I was going to be back at Alabama, but I definitely knew that I was going to have some kind of position like this because it's just what I truly wanted to do.
Yeah, and I mean at a certain point it turns from having like aspirations or having dreams to then those becoming goals and those
exactly
becoming things that you like. Okay, I understand how to attain that. What type of work it's going to take to be able to have those things presented to me, and just how to continue with those different opportunities. But
exactly.
As you worked here, what are some of the cooler experiences or some of the coolest things that you've been able to shoot since you've been here?
Yeah, so I'll say, like, as you mentioned earlier, like just getting to go to the playoffs, like, or getting to go to the national championship, like that's been really, really special. Just because like I grew up watching football, like that was my passion. Like football is what I love. And so me getting to like finally be able to experience that in person, not just see it on TV, was just crazy. Like that was probably one of my favorite games to go to. Also, just getting to travel across the country, like over women's basketball, we got to go to the Bahamas, and we got to go to Europe. We got to go to Spain. So really, I would have never thought that I would got to travel across the country to film like the players' day in the life of like us just having fun in Spain, riding bikes, like playing basketball games and stuff in Spain. Like I would have never thought that would have happened. So just getting to go to cool places like that, and like Bahamas was cool too. Like we went to a resort, and so it was really really chill. So like yes, you are at work, but also you get to like experience these cool opportunities that you never got to experience, and it's all paid for too.
Yeah.
So.
And so with that, on a game day or when you're filming and stuff like that, what is like your are you normally like, are there times where you start to get nervous, like if it's a big game or something like that where you're talking about the playoffs, or you talking about March Madness, like what are your nerves like in those times?
Really, I mean, it's not really that bad. They are a little bit. It depends on the situation. Now, I would say for like football, it really does. My nerves didn't really get that, that anxious, just because I'm focused on what I have to do and stuff. And I think it comes with me because I've did it for so long and stuff. I've been doing this since 2017 when I was a student. So. It's 2025 now, so I've had time to just I've seen a lot of big important games. But I will say this year, like March Madness for women's basketball, like that Maryland game, Sarah Ashley Barker had a crazy game.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the craziest basketball games I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. That game, I was kind of like, my heart, I could feel my heart, but I think it was adrenaline, and it was just kind of nerves of like, I got to make sure I get the shot. I can't miss it. Yeah. That's kind of the thing that I kind of have to go through, is like, I can't miss this shot. I can't mess this up. Like, that's kind of the thing, is like I have to be there. Or with basketball too, you're fighting the refs and stuff. So like that's one of those things where you have to be careful, because if you miss that shot, it's a very, very crucial moment, and that's something you can never get back. And so there's moments like that, and there's moments like the LSU women's basketball game this year where it was like they hadn't beat LSU, I guess, since 2020, I believe. It's been a long time. But to take down that team and for me to be there to get the reacts and stuff, like it was just. Like, I really think I blacked out when that happened.
Yeah. You talk about like the LSU game. I think one of the coolest, but also like one of the funniest things about working like in sports, or like obviously being on a creative team or being a creative, but then like working different jobs and stuff like that. Like you see the whole production, or you see everything that's going on in the game. So like the LSU game, I was working on the game camera, so up top, and like you just take off. Like, I think that's one of the funniest things. Like when like. Because you don't really think about it after the fact if you somebody's like consuming the content on, if you like watching on social media, but like seeing y'all like sprint to get shots, or like seeing people, I like a lot of times during football, like people always see like the camera people get hit, but then like when you become the camera people, you're like it's not as funny as like
yeah, exactly.
It's not as funny as like when you see it on TV, and so
exactly.
Like I don't think people take the time to actually think about like the people who are actually doing the work.
Exactly.
And like all those little things that are a part of it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, as you talked about like some of the moments, just the thrill of being a part of some of the special moments here at UA. Looking a little bit further down the road, what is something that you really still are aspiring to do, or like certain goals that you still have in the creative space?
Yeah, so I think one of my passions is just making sure our students have the resources that they need to, to keep being successful, for them to get big time jobs. I do think when I was a student here, I had people pour into me, and I feel like that's my duty now, is to pour into them. So really just one of my main goals is just to make sure that all of our students come out with a big time job. I want to give them every opportunity they can get. To put on the reel, to put on the resume, to put on portfolio, website, whatever it is. I just want to be that person to be able to look out for them, and to be able to have somebody to say, hey, can I talk to you about this? I think I'm a person that wants to pour into people. I just want to make sure our students have the best opportunity to get whatever they want to get.
Well, appreciate that.
Of course.
You've done a lot pointing to me on the creative side, and continue to do that. So you definitely making strides and holding up to those goals, and continue to achieve that. And appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you having me.
But that's all, y'all. Stay tuned for the next episode.